What if I told you that the most powerful sales tool you will ever use has nothing to do with your product, your price, or even your pitch? What if the real reason people buy or don't buy comes down entirely to what's happening inside their mind in moments before they make a decision? Now stay with me, because what you're about to learn will fundamentally change how you think about selling forever. Welcome to the channel where we take the science of human psychology and put it to work in the most honest, most ethical, and most effective way possible. Today, we're diving into sales psychology triggers. Now, before you assume this is about manipulation or sneaky tactics, I want to be very clear from the start. Everything we cover today is rooted in trust, in genuine value, and in actually serving the person you're selling to. Because here's the truth that most sales gurus won't tell you. The most sustainable sales strategy that has ever existed is simply helping people make decisions that are genuinely right for them. So let's get into it. The human brain is a decision-making machine that runs mostly on autopilot. Researchers estimate that somewhere around 90 to 95% of our decisions happen below the level of conscious awareness. Now think about that. The people who are visiting your website, watching your videos, reading your emails, they believe they are making rational, logical choices. But underneath the surface, psychological triggers are firing constantly, shaping how they feel, what they trust, and ultimately what they decide. Your job as an ethical seller is not to exploit those triggers. Your job is to understand them deeply enough to align with them honestly. Let me give you the first major trigger we need to talk about, and it might surprise you. It's trust. Now I know, everybody talks about trust, but stay with me, because most people massively underestimate how fast that trust is either built or destroyed. In the online world, you have roughly 7 seconds to create a first impression. 7 seconds. After that, your potential customer has already formed a gut feeling about you. And that feeling, formed almost entirely without conscious thought, is going to color every single word they read after that. So how do you build trust instantly? Consistency is the foundation. When your message, your visuals, your tone, and your values all align perfectly, the brain registers that as safe. It registers that as reliable. People don't consciously think, oh, this brand is consistent, therefore I trust them. They just feel comfortable. They feel at ease. And that ease is the beginning of a buying relationship. Now here's where it gets really interesting. There is a psychological phenomenon called mere exposure effect. The more someone sees you, the more familiar you become. And the more familiar you are, the more trustworthy you seem. This is why showing up consistently on social media, through email, through video content, actually builds a psychological bond with your audience even before they've spent a single dollar with you. You're not being manipulative, you're simply being present. And presence equals trust over time. So let's talk about the next trigger, which is social proof. Your brain is wired for social learning. Thousands of years ago, following the group was a survival mechanism. If everyone else was running from something, you ran too. You didn't stop to think about whether it was necessary. Today, that same wiring influences purchasing decisions every single day. So when someone sees that hundreds or even thousands of other people have bought something, reviewed something, or recommended something, their brain interprets that as a signal of safety and quality. But here's the ethical application of social proof that most people miss. Fake reviews, inflated numbers, and manufactured testimonials might work for the short term, but they destroy the thing that is the most valuable in your business, which is genuine trust. Real social proof, authentic testimonials from real customers sharing real results, is not just more ethical, it's actually more powerful. And that's because real stories have specific details. They have emotion. They have imperfections. And the brain is remarkably good at detecting authenticity versus performance. So collect real testimonials, share real case studies, celebrate your real customers publicly. That's your social proof strategy. And it costs you nothing except the effort of genuinely helping people well enough that they want to tell others about it. Now, I want to introduce you to a trigger that is often misunderstood, and that's scarcity. Scarcity works because the brain assigns higher value to things that are limited or rare. This is called loss aversion, and it's one of the most studied phenomena in behavioral economics. The fear of missing out on something is psychologically almost twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something. That's a remarkable asymmetry. The unethical version of scarcity is fake countdowns, fake limited quantities, fake deadlines that reset the moment you refresh the page. You've seen it. It just doesn't feel right. It just feels bad. And it should, because it's a lie. But here's the thing. Real scarcity is everywhere in business. You genuinely do only have a certain number of coaching spots. Or your live workshop genuinely does only run once a year. Your early bird pricing genuinely does only last until a specific date. When scarcity is real, communicating it clearly is not manipulation. It's just honest information that helps people to make timely decisions. The key word here is real. If it's real, say it. If it's not real, don't fake it. Let's shift to something that I absolutely love talking about, and that's the principle of reciprocity. Here's the psychological truth behind it. When someone gives you something valuable, your brain automatically generates a feeling of obligation to give something back. This is deeply wired into human social behavior. We evolved as cooperative creatures, and reciprocity was the glue that held communities together. In the world of ethical online selling, reciprocity is your greatest friend. When you consistently give away genuinely useful content, free resources, honest advice, real value with no strings attached, you are activating this powerful psychological response in your audience. They want to reciprocate. They want to support you. They want to buy from you when the opportunity arises, not because they feel pressured, but because they genuinely feel that you have earned it. This is why the content-first approach is not just a nice idea. It's deeply psychological. Every video you make, every free guide you publish, every honest answer you give in a comment section. You are building a psychological credit in the accounts of everyone who receives it. And when you eventually make an offer, that credit gets cashed in willingly. Now here's a trigger that connects everything we've talked about so far, and it's one of the most powerful of all. It's called authority. People naturally look to experts and authorities when making decisions, especially in complex or unfamiliar territories. This goes back to survival again. Learning from people who know more than you kept our ancestors alive. Today, it means that when someone perceives you as a credible authority in your field, their resistance to buying from you drops dramatically. But authority built on hype is fragile. Authority built on demonstrated expertise is almost indestructible. Share your knowledge generously. Show your reasoning. Explain the why behind what you teach. Be willing to say, "I don't know," when you don't know. Counterintuitively, admitting uncertainty actually builds more authority than pretending to have all the answers, because it signals honesty, which the brain registers as trustworthy. Here is something fascinating about how psychology and emotion intersect in the buying decision. Logic and emotion both play a role, but they don't play equal roles. Emotion almost always leads. People decide emotionally first and then justify that decision with logic afterwards. This means that connecting emotionally with your audience, making them feel understood, seen, and respected is not a fluffy, soft skill. It's actually the most strategically important thing that you can do. The way you do this is through specificity and empathy. Instead of saying, "I help people grow their business," you say something like, "I help people who are working incredibly hard but still feel stuck, who are starting to wonder if they're missing something fundamental." That second version speaks to an emotion. It creates a moment of recognition. And that recognition is the beginning of a genuine connection that no amount of slick marketing copy can manufacture. Let me tie all of this together for you with one simple framework. Trust is the container that holds everything else. Social proof fills that container with evidence. Reciprocity creates goodwill that flows naturally toward a purchase. Scarcity, when real, helps people to act instead of procrastinate. Authority gives people confidence in their decision. And emotional connection makes the whole experience feel human and meaningful rather than transactional. When you layer these triggers together honestly, you're not manipulating anyone. You're creating the conditions where the right people can clearly see what you offer is genuinely right for them. That's it. That's the whole game. The most successful sellers in the online world are not the ones with the cleverest funnels or the flashiest launches. They're the ones who have built the deepest reserves of real trust with a real audience. Because trust converts. Trust retains customers. Trust generates referrals. Trust builds businesses that last. So here is your challenge this week. Look at your own sales process and ask yourself honestly, where am I communicating genuine value? Where am I being truly transparent? Where could I give more before I ask? Because that's where your growth is hiding. If this landed for you, make sure you subscribe because we go deeper into ethical sales psychology every single week. And if you know someone who's trying to sell online the right way, share this video with them, because the more people who understand this, the better the entire online business world becomes for everyone. So I'll see you in that next video.